What's going on, everybody? It's Brian Trippe. We are back at the law office of Jeff Parmer. Jeff, how's it going today?
Going well.
Awesome. Guys, we've been going through this quick little series, the 3 challenges. A few weeks ago, I asked Jeff specifically, what are some specific challenges that you see as a closing attorney when dealing with wholesalers? And guys, for any of you out there that are wholesaling right now, this is great information that you really need to take to heart to make your closings be smoother. You know, if you're having trouble, if you have some complaints with your closing attorney, you probably need to start closing with Jeff, first of all. But if you have some complaints with your closing attorney, it may be you. It may be some stuff that you are either doing or not doing that can help the process go a lot smoother. So we've been asking Jeff, what are the top challenges he sees with working with wholesalers that's kind of delaying closing. So if you do some of these things, go back and listen to number 1 and number 2. If you do some of these things, it's going to make your closings happen hopefully a lot faster so you can get that check a lot quicker. So we're on to number 3, the third challenge you see, Jeff, working with wholesalers.
That third challenge that we mentioned earlier was property taxes that have not been paid on properties that are being presented for closing. It can happen from the standpoint of somebody just forgot to pay the property taxes. It can happen from the standpoint of there are people who are deceased and heirs have not paid the property taxes. For whatever reason, there can be a situation where the property taxes haven't been paid for several years and those need to be caught up at closing.
So you're not talking about property taxes that are coming due, or that, you know, like you're not really talking about prorated property taxes where it's everything's current. Like we're filming this. This is August, right? And the property taxes aren't due until October.
Right.
They were paid last year. You're gonna prorate them. That's
Correct.
just normal stuff.
Yes.
You're actually talking about where the property taxes haven't been paid at all, and
Right.
at least in the previous year.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I feel like, just as a wholesaler or as a seller in general, or as a buyer in general, that all that's going to work itself out anyway. You're going to call, I'm assuming someone from your office is going to
Right.
call down to Jefferson County and get what the number is, and you're just going to attach that number. What's the actual challenge that you see?
The challenge that we have is the second thing that can happen at the property tax sale in May. The first thing is the property taxes are sold to state because nobody else buys the tax interest. The bigger problem comes in the second scenario when somebody does buy the tax interest at the tax sale in May. It's called a third-party purchase, and so you now have another company or an individual that holds the tax interest in the property. And the property has to be redeemed from that third party instead of being able to redeem it directly from the state of Alabama.
So that has to happen
Yes.
before the property can be sold.
Well, yes, it does.
Or can it happen at the closing?
The payment of the funds
payment
can happen at closing, but the legwork on getting the redemption form signed by the third-party purchaser needs to be done before closing.
So I want to make sure everybody caught that and distinguish. There's 2 things that are going on here. If there's unpaid property taxes and we get around to May, which is typically when the tax sale occurs here in Jefferson County, if it gets sold to state, which means no one came in and purchased the tax lien, the tax prop, no one purchased it, and which means that it just sold to state. That's not really an issue for you because you can actually request that
Correct.
number.
Right.
The issue comes when someone actually buys that tax lien, and now you have to go through this third party.
Right.
And the laws have just changed recently too, to where now you have to get them to sign this form.
Correct.
So that's what you're talking about
Yes,
specifically.
yes, exactly.
So I've been asking you this question.
Yes.
What can I, the wholesaler, do to help you make this process? Because I'm the middleman. I'm not the seller. I
Right.
don't own this property.
Right.
But what can I do to speed this process up?
Well, really only a couple of things. First, if you have any information that the property taxes are not current, let us know that up front. That way we'll, again, know what to be looking for, know what to be prepared for. Second, when we do get the title commitment back and it shows us the status of taxes, we may be reaching out to you, again, to contact the seller, to get them to go through this process, to get the tax form signed by that third party that's bought the tax interest in the property.
That's awesome. That's great information, guys. I'm glad
We'll talk again, I think, maybe in the future about a little more in depth about the property tax redemption process and tax liens and that sort of thing. because that comes up a whole lot too. So.
And that might be next week's video. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in for another great video from Jeff Parmer. We thank you, Jeff, for sponsoring our club. We're very, very thankful for what you do for us. And, we want to obviously try to provide you with some value and provide you guys, the audience, with some value, with some practical real estate advice from one of the very, very best closing attorneys in all of Birmingham. So thank you guys for tuning in for another week. See you guys next time.